What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Bourbon, Buzzed, and Ballin podcast. We are your hosts, Kolby and Dut, and we like to talk sports, and of course, we drink a little bourbon. We like to rate a little bourbon, and we ordinarily get a little drunk while we're talking.
That's why it's called Bourbon Buzzed and
Bourbon,
Ballin.
Buzzed, and Ballin.
That's right.
We got a good show tonight.
We do. You know, we got a lot of things going on. The NFL trade deadline was today.
Exciting day.
The World Series is going on. Football is peak season right now, where you got the good matchups. So,
That's right. Getting down to the real nitty gritty for teams.
Yeah.
Especially college football.
Yeah, I mean, there's coming up this weekend. There's some
got a big one.
high stakes games coming up this weekend.
Definitely got a couple big ones, really.
Oh yeah. So we'll talk about that when we get to the college football segment.
We always like to open our podcast with a toast.
We do.
That kind of sticks with the bourbon,
That's
buzzed
right.
and ballin' theme. So
That's right.
you got an opening toast?
I do. Yesterday was Halloween. We're filming on Tuesday, and yesterday was Halloween, and Halloween means it's Coach Saban's birthday. And he turned 71 yesterday, so
71 years
doesn't
young.
look it. Still going strong. Still doing real good at Alabama coaching. I heard an interesting stat today that he's got 9 of his former players wearing the C's on their chest in the NFL.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because Eddie Jackson, and we'll talk about the trade, but Robert Quinn got traded from the Bears to the Eagles.
Oh, so that.
And Quinn was the captain.
Right. Oh, okay.
And so that opened up a captain spot on
sweet.
defense. And apparently Eddie was the second highest vote getter to Quinn in the preseason when they assigned the captain. So Coach gave it to Eddie. He found out right before kickoff.
Nice.
That he was going to be the captain. So that brought the alumni to 9. I thought that was a pretty impressive number that you got 9 young men representing, what you've taught them. So Coach Saban, I'm a huge fan, obviously, and want to wish him a happy birthday, and that's who I'm going to toast to.
All right, happy birthday, GOAT. You're still on top of the number one dynasty. We're still the dynasty.
That's right.
We're still the dynasty.
We still control our destiny.
Georgia's coming. Georgia's coming.
And don't forget about Tennessee either.
Well, I mean, come on. They won a game. We're not going to call them no dynasty.
No, I'm not talking about
way
dynasty. I'm just saying.
I got you.
I don't even consider Georgia a dynasty.
We'll see. No,
I never considered Clemson a dynasty.
No, it takes more than one or two. I think you have to string together a handful for sure.
Give me a half a dozen. In
we
a
talked
years.
about that. That's a kind of an overblown topic too, a little bit. But I'm gonna toast the Auburn Tigers.
Okay, I did not see that coming.
No, I want to toast the Auburn Tigers Board of Trustees.
Okay.
I want to.
Do you trust the Board of Trustees?
Well, as a Bama fan, of course I trust them.
I'm a little disappointed because I didn't want them to fire Harsin.
Well, I mean, I don't think the guy got a fair shot. But let me just say, trustees, thanks for making Auburn the laughing stock of the SEC.
I see what you did there.
I'm not a fan of Auburn stinking it up, honestly. Because the Iron Bowl, when it's relevant, it's a fun game.
Yeah. We've said it on previous podcasts. We want Florida to be relevant.
Right.
We want Tennessee to be relevant.
Right.
We want LSU, Auburn, Florida State, Miami. It makes for a better product.
And it's no fun for our games to be a foregone conclusion. But, I do enjoy just a little bit, Auburn's fan base, the elitist fan base that they are. I enjoy watching them get screwed by their band of boosters that are running that program down there.
So your hats off and cheers into.
It's a backhanded compliment. It's a backhanded compliment.
All right. Well.
I mean, I'm just they're never happy with any coach.
Nah,
Yeah. So if you guys want to keep turning things over, here's to you, trustees at Auburn. We do toast you.
There you go. And happy birthday, Coach.
Happy birthday, Coach. That's good.
All right. Well, we like to go from the people we are toasting and honoring to the people that we consider to be the scumbags of the week.
Well, what you sipping on first?
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Tell everybody what we getting tipsy on.
I lucked out and just happened to walk into the ABC store on the right day and got some Buffalo Trace. So, I'm
That's like every other day.
Yeah.
You got a good chance of walking in and catching something good if you're in. No, I'm just kidding.
I know.
I'm just kidding.
But no, I love some Buffalo Trace. Best $30, in my opinion, best $30 bottle of bourbon you can buy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good one.
So, and it's good just enjoying it neat. So,
that's right.
So Buffalo Trace. How about you?
Man, I'm on this Old Forester kick now. Old Forester's really won me over.
It's been impressive. I must say, it way exceeded my expectations.
Mm-hmm. You know? Well, this is the 1910 Old Fine Whiskey.
Yeah,
I think we rated that one a neat.
Yeah, that was my second favorite one to the Statesman.
To the Statesman.
Yep, but that is a very good one.
It is. It is good. High class. I like it.
Highly recommend that whole Whiskey Row series and the Statesman, and we hope to find some of the unicorns and get those on here. But the ones we've tried so far, other than their entry level, their $21 bottle.
I actually found a bottle of Birthday online for MSRP, and I think it's $600 and some change.
Yeah.
So I'm considering it.
Okay.
I'm considering it. I hope my mom and dad don't watch this podcast.
It might be a Christmas present from mom and dad.
Could be. You never know. Not in the Zick house, man. That's a big Christmas present.
Christmas, birthday, Father's Day, all of the above, Easter.
Yeah, that would probably take up a good couple years worth of presents for me.
Okay. All right. Well, I got a little premature with going to the scumbag of the week. Forgot to talk about what we were sipping on for the opening toast. But my scumbag of the week is a future Hall of Fame quarterback. He's also a current whiny bitch.
He is a whiny bitch.
Takes zero accountability for anything going on. Has zero leadership skills.
Zero.
And all he wants to do is complain about not having any weapons. And, of course, I'm talking about Mr. Rogers up in Green Bay. He made a comment this past week that people in society have a hard time hearing the truth. Hello, Pop. Meet Kevin.
He has a hard time looking himself in the mirror.
Well, I mean, look at Brady in his New England days. What weapon did he have? He made those weapons.
Less than Aaron Rodgers did by a long shot.
I mean, yeah, my Giants lost this weekend, but who's Daniel Jones been having to throw to all year? I mean, if you're an elite MVP, Hall of Fame quarterback, you should be able to throw to the cheerleaders.
Right.
You know, and make them. Well, they already look good, but make them look.
You should be bringing the level of your receivers up.
Yeah,
because you're throwing them open. You're throwing them into positions where they can make those catches for sure. Now I admit there's been a lot of drops and a lot of learning. Well, but that's also on Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, because he wasn't there for them during training camp.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know you're a vet. You don't need it. You know the playbook inside and out. But you've got brand new receivers that you want to get on the same page as.
You got to build a rapport with them.
Suck it up, show up, and get that connection. Yeah. So, yeah, he's my scumbag of the week. There was a few. There was plenty to choose from, and I'm pretty sure I know who you chose.
Yeah.
And they were. The reason I didn't choose them was because I knew you would.
Yeah, that was a foregone conclusion.
Why don't you go ahead and talk about old Sparty?
Yeah, my scumbag of the week's going to be the Michigan State Spartan football program. I don't know that I'm gonna shine the spotlight on the coach.
Mel?
Yeah, I don't know that I'm gonna blame Tucker, but Tucker he has just a bad posture on the sideline during that ass whooping, but. There were 8 players on camera, 4 were suspended, but I did see later tonight on my way here that 4 more were suspended.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I knew about the 4.
8.
Okay.
So we are up to 8. Obviously, Harbaugh's made a statement, and that it's been like this. That tunnel has been like this. Now, me and my friend Brian, another Michigan man, we talked about maybe they need to put a plexiglass up between them, and
right. Well, it's not a very wide hall, though.
It's not a wide hall.
What is it? Maybe 4 people wide, maybe 6 people at the most.
Yeah, I think you could walk arm in arm, maybe 5 people
when
wide.
When you're full pads.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up because I did want to, that's 2 weeks in a row, because Penn State, there was a little bit of an issue. I mean, at the least, Michigan needs to stay on the field and let the visiting team get in the locker room before they even leave the field. Until they figure something out.
And they shouldn't have let these two guys kind of go in rogue on their own.
Right.
I mean, it's a bad look all the way around. It's a great venue. It's a great tradition.
Yeah.
Michigan, Ohio State have really never had these kind of problems.
And you would think they'd be the two to
They've
have
had
it.
confrontations, but it's always been kept, just confrontations, just a lot of yelling and jockeying back and forth.
I think they had some like pregame on the field.
Oh yeah, definitely some on the field stuff. But
no, I mean this incident. I mean, there very well could be. Criminal
there's going to be
charges.
some criminal charges.
I mean,
for
you're
sure.
talking swinging a helmet that could be considered a deadly weapon.
Yeah, I mean Michigan's probably lost their starting cornerback to concussion over this. So.
And he was the one. Wasn't he the one that made the interception to kind of seal the game? Yeah, that's horrible. You hate to see that in sports. I know, these young men are out there and they're being coached to be savages for 60 minutes, and then they have to be able to turn that light switch off, which it ain't always easy to do. I mean, we've both been competitors in our life, and that's why I think part of it falls on. In this instance, Michigan needs to do something about how the two teams enter and leave the field.
Definitely going to have to change some of the procedures for sure, and that's the unfortunate thing. But,
right.
But yeah, Michigan State's my scumbag, man. Sparty, they got handled really easily, a lot more easily than the score showed.
Right. Well, that's the thing.
And
if you want to take it out on them, take it out on the field.
Right.
You obviously couldn't handle it there, so you resorted to cowardly jumping on,
just ganging up on
ganging them
man.
and using weapons, and there's no place for that. And I hope those guys never get to play football again in college. That you got to set down some ground rules.
It's definitely going to be. There's attorneys that have already been hired, so there's definitely going to be some criminal charges with the use of the helmets and the kicking, and so. I mean, they're going to have to suffer the consequence. I don't know that I agree with hope they never play again, but honestly, I mean that's the message that really needs to be sent.
They need to be the sacrifice for the rest of the players to know that type of behavior, excuse me,
not acceptable.
Is not acceptable.
Yeah, and not any form or fashion.
It's kind of like we were talking about storming the field, and they should have to forfeit the win. I mean, you go some of these things in today's world without drastic measures, it ain't going to change.
Right.
So I'm all for second chances, but I think sometimes also
true words.
You got to make examples. So
true words.
So all right, those are our scumbags, Mr. Aaron Rodgers and the Michigan State Sparties.
The Sparties.
So we'll see who comes up next week as our scumbag.
Not gonna be hard, It's like...
haven't struggled to find one yet. Usually I gotta narrow it down from 2 or 3. Enough talking about scumbags. Let's come in hot.
Let's do it.
World Series, Game 3.
Game 3.
It was supposed to be last night.
I know.
But they got rained out. Series is tied 1-1. Philly stole the first game. And then the Astros bounced back. Now these next 3 are in Philly.
Yep.
So, what you think?
I mean, I think the rain out favors the Phillies. I mean, I think the Phillies are going to be able to reload on a pitching staff.
Pitching gets a little more rest.
And I think we talked about it going into the series that was a big question mark for Philly.
Yeah, they weren't quite as deep.
They weren't
with
as
their
deep
starters.
with their staff, and now they get that extra day rest, which allows them to rearrange their staff. I think you'll see Aaron Nola go, and then Ranger Suarez is going to be allowed to come in on the back end.
Right.
So I mean, I think it helps the Phillies, and now whether or not the Phillies can keep up with the Astros' firepower. And of course it does help Verlander. It gives Verlander an extra day, but Verlander struggles in the postseason.
Of course, he didn't. He didn't early.
He was
game
cruising,
one.
he
was cruising, and then.
But he struggles in the postseason. He's not the same JV that he is in regular season.
Yeah,
so
this is true.
I mean,
of course, he's getting up there in years.
Sure.
So I mean,
39, I think, isn't he? 38, 39?
He may actually. He's either 39 or just turned 40.
Something like that.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, so the deeper that team goes, that's just more innings, more pitches on that arm, and it makes it harder on them.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like the Phillies to pull this upset.
I'd like to see them do it. I don't want to see the city of Philadelphia burn to the ground, but
well, maybe there's parts of Philly that need to maybe need to burn so they can revitalize.
But I would like. I'm pulling for the Phillies in this matchup. Now, I wouldn't mind seeing it, go 6 or 7 games. Make it a nice, entertaining. Maybe even come down to a game 7 back in Houston.
Yeah, sure.
So, well, the Brooklyn Nets. I almost call them the New Jersey Nets because when I was growing up in Jersey, that's where they were.
That's what they were.
But the Brooklyn Nets, and they're saying it was mutual, but they parted ways with Steve Nash. And, they were off to a 2-5 start to the season.
There was talk in the summertime. They were trying to get him fired.
Well,
anyway.
Durant was. He was trying to hold out to kind of force the upper management's hand.
Right.
And the owner was like, no, this is my coach. This is my GM. Well, the coach is no longer. Him. And supposedly they are already lined up to sign the suspended Celtics coach.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, the Ime Udoka. Who he was an assistant with the Nets before he took the Celtics job. So, he was the one that had the inappropriate relationship with I think it was the lady that booked all the travel for the team or whatever.
Yeah.
They suspended him for the year. But apparently, as long as the Celtics say it's okay, he's free to sign with another team. And apparently,
I don't think it's going to matter.
No.
I mean, I think their roster, even though they do have, arguably, in my opinion, the best player, Kevin Durant.
Right. Well,
but Kyrie Irving is just
he's another one that could have been a candidate for scumbag of the week with his anti-Semitic posting, and he's a clown.
He is. He's weird. He's
last
different.
year it was the whole COVID thing. He wasn't going to get vaccinated, so he wasn't going to play, and now he's on these rants, and he's unique.
Yeah. I mean, in the end, I don't care what coach comes in unless he's just a magician. It's such a flawed roster.
Was no defense.
It's
all offense.
No defense, and there's no chemistry. No chemistry with that team.
Nope.
So whatever.
Well, I'll tell you one team that's got chemistry: the Milwaukee Bucks.
The Bucks, yeah.
They're yet to lose a game.
They got a certain element of their chemistry.
The Greek freak.
Yeah.
The Greek freak. Yeah, they of course, they won it all.
I need to go to a Hornets game to see him in person. Yeah. That should have been a bucket list item to see him in person.
That would be a good one to go see.
Yeah, he would be fun to watch.
And then on the complete opposite of that, the Los Angeles Lakers, they finally won a game.
Yeah, and they celebrated big time with that first victory. I mean, they were going nuts like they had won a championship. I mean, it's a little embarrassing.
And then one other thing that came out of the NBA this week was the 76ers lost next year's second-round pick and the following year's second-round pick for tampering. But second-round picks usually don't even make it in the NBA. So, there again, it goes back to what I said a little while ago. When you don't, like the NFL finding these billionaire owners,
a couple $100,000.
What equates to in their pocket $10,
right?
And now take away 2 second-round picks, which probably wouldn't even been G League players,
right? They would definitely be players in the G League or developmental players for sure.
So it's like.
Might be 3 years before you even see them on the court.
A little slap on the wrist,
right?
So it's not gonna make anything different. You mentioned Auburn and Harsin. Yeah.
I think we probably should talk a little bit about coming in, in this segment about Harsin. Just at least briefly touch on the coaching lists that are being thrown around.
Yeah. So what names have you been hearing?
Well, naturally, you're hearing Dion,
Coach Prime. Yep.
You're hearing Hugh Freeze.
Yep.
You've heard Hugh Freeze's name mentioned before.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple of other OCs. I've even heard, golly, I can't remember his name now. He was a former DC for Bama and Auburn.
Steele.
Kevin
Steele.
Steele's name. And then, of course, I actually read this afternoon Urban Meyer's.
Really?
Yeah,
no
Urban
way.
Meyer.
He's so scared of Nick. He would never come be Nick's rival.
Well, even that. None of this, again, like I mentioned in my toast, none of this is going to match up with the
He left
with the
Florida.
Auburn
He left
boosters.
Florida because of Nick Saban. And you think he's going to come to Auburn?
I would love for him to go to Auburn. That would really
Get to beat him every year.
be interesting.
Nah, the only other names I heard was Kiffin, of course. But I think Kiffin. I think Kiffin wants to be the next Alabama coach.
I do. Funny you mentioned that. That's going to come up later in our
Okay,
show.
okay. And I don't think that he would jeopardise that opportunity
think so
by
either.
taking the Auburn job.
That's going to
And
come
then
up later.
also recently fired Matt Rule. I heard his
I
name,
did
and I
see
actually
it.
think that would probably be a real good fit.
Either way, Auburn, new AD
Right.
and the president. I mean, you guys might as well not do the hiring. You might as well just let the boosters do the hiring because it'll be an all-out witch hunt.
Well, if they let Bo Jackson hire it, it's going to be Coach Prime because that's who Bo
That's
wants.
who Bo wants. Well, Cadillac Williams is the interim coach.
Oh, is
you
that?
know that?
I thought.
Yeah, Cadillac. I'm pretty sure he was announced as the interim coach.
Okay.
That's a pretty good little interim coach.
Yeah.
I don't know how good of a coach he is, but that's a good name for Auburn.
He started out in the NFL as a
Yeah,
position
I'm sure.
coach, and yeah, just to kind of finish up on the Harsin, he had a 9-12 record in the 1.5 seasons that he was there, and a $15 million buyout to go find another job. So that's all I had in coming in hot. What about you?
That's it. That's it. I mean, we touched on everything. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's jump into the NFL. And like I mentioned earlier, it was the trade deadline. So I just wanted to kind of highlight some of the bigger trades that went
active.
down. Yeah, it was a nice trade deadline. If I had to rank some winners, I would probably say the Ravens.
Yeah.
Getting Roquan Smith, and didn't really. I mean, they gave up a second and a fifth, and I know they still have to sign him. I
was a little perplexed by that trade.
Yep.
I mean, I
thought that was a good one. I thought the Dolphins did good, getting Bradley Chubb from Denver.
Yeah, that one's weird to me too.
They gave up a first, a fourth, and Chase Edmonds to get Chubb and a fifth back. And
they had the draft cap though.
Well, they traded their number one a few years back to San Fran for Trey, so San Fran can move up and get Trey Lance. They got 3 first-round picks out of that trade. One of them they used to trade up to get Jalen Waddle. One of them they used to trade to Kansas City to get Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
And one of them they just traded to Denver to get Bradley Chubb. So they turned those 3 first-round picks into Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Bradley Chubb.
It's good moves. I mean, you gotta.
Well done.
Buffalo's gotta feel a little bit of the heat.
Yeah.
Because this right here rounds out their team.
Yep. I mean, that's why they had to go and do it, because they're chasing Buffalo and Josh Allen. They're chasing Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
They had to get better pass rushing. We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't.
Their back end has been struggling because of the lack of pass rush.
Because of the time they have to keep up.
So now they.
I still would put them third behind those two teams I just mentioned. I still think Buffalo's the class of the East, even though Miami beat them. But that was in like 120-degree sauna.
Man, I don't know, man. I really like the Dolphins' offense.
They can score with anybody. They can score with anybody.
Waddle, and now with Bradley Chubb.
Well, and they also made a kind of a off the radar move and got Jeff Wilson.
Yeah, if he stays healthy.
So now Coach McDaniels has got his 2 running backs from San Francisco, and Mostert and Wilson. And they got rid of Edmonds, who really hadn't done anything. You know, they threw him in with
he didn't really,
the Chubb deal.
Yeah, he really
never
didn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was going to be a good signing because
I think everybody did.
He did good in Arizona, but yeah, he didn't really do anything. You know, you mentioned Buffalo. They did a small little deal.
Yeah.
And I didn't really understand what the Colts were getting out of it.
No, I mean, they gave Hines up for
Zach Moss.
Yeah,
and I think a sixth.
Nothing, really.
I think it was a sixth. Let me see. I've got it listed
Because
here.
I mean, you already had a pretty decent backup to Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
And Nyheim Hines brings a whole nother level that Zach Moss doesn't bring.
Right. Yeah, I did that trade. I completely.
But at the same time, I really don't see that helping Buffalo because Buffalo doesn't utilize their running backs.
Well, but it does give Josh Allen. Maybe now Josh Allen could dump it off to Hines instead of running and taking the hits.
He's not a dumping passer.
Well, but
though,
if he wants a nice long career, he might want to start thinking about it. I mean, look at Big Ben.
I understand that, but he pushes the field.
Well, you know, sometimes, and it's like Tua. Sometimes a quarterback has to learn new skills and traits if they want to have a long career in the NFL.
Josh Allen's always in the top % of average depth of pass. Mm-hmm. You know, in the NFL. So I mean, it's not like he's not really a safety valve type guy. It was kind of a perplexing trade to me. I mean, I thought you drafted Cook, who can catch the ball.
Who's very similar to Hines.
Yeah, extremely similar.
To me,
you've pushed him back.
To me, the Bills brought in a running back that kind of is like the other two.
Devin
still have.
Singletary's having a good year.
And Hines and Singletary to me are about the same back. Not Dalvin Cook. What's his brother's name?
James Cook.
James Cook. So now you got three of the same, and then the Colts get rid of their third down little change of pace to Jonathan Taylor, and they bring in Zach Moss for what? That trade
didn't make sense to me.
When I saw that one, I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Another one that shocked me just because I never saw it coming was the Falcons trading Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, that one's under the radar. I mean, dude just made a couple of bets, man, and he's like ostracized, like he's some sort of the massage therapist, abuser, you know.
Yeah,
I'm like, God Almighty, it just.
And it was while he wasn't even on the active roster.
Yeah, it doesn't. The crime doesn't fit the punishment to me,
no,
and now he's being dealt to the Jaguars. But whatever. I mean,
and the Jags though, they paid. You know, they gave up the picks are going to be conditional based on if he's reinstated at the beginning of next year. If the Jags are able to sign him to a contract extension, but it could turn into a second and a fifth for the Falcons. So it was a good trade for the Falcons, you know, to get that.
Sure.
But let's see, what other trade?
Hawkinson?
Did we talk about? I was about to say, did we talk about your Vikings?
I was waiting for you to get to them. Yeah, I like that trade.
You know, I heard about the trade before I heard about Irv Smith being out 8 to 10 weeks.
Right, high ankle sprain.
So it was a trade of need plus probably an upgrade.
Yeah, I think it's an upgrade. I mean, I think Hawkinson is a top 5 tight end if he's factored into the offense. I mean, he's got the skill set. So
of course the Vikings, you know, they gave up a second and a third.
Yeah,
that's
wasn't
a pretty
cheap.
hefty price for Hawkinson, but you know he's easily a top 10 tight end in the NFL. And now, you know, with Kirk Cousins, you know, maybe he even becomes a top 5 or 6.
Yeah, he's got the potential to do that. The Vikings like to use their tight ends.
I tell you, the Vikings offense is looking good, you know, with Dalvin Cook. Then you got Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen, and now you add Hawkinson to the mix.
Good old steady Kirk Cousins.
And you know, your Vikes only lost 1 game so far, so I mean,
but you know, I've been a Vikings fan for life, and so I'm just waiting for the shoe to fall. You know, it's just it's just the way of the Vikings. I mean, we always find a way to choke somehow, so we'll see.
So yeah, now if I'm grading or declaring winners, you know, you got the 49ers trading for CMC.
Yeah,
that's That's a win.
That's a win for that offense.
I like Roquan going to the Ravens.
Yeah, that's a W for the Ravens.
Yep. I like Hawkinson to the Vikings. Didn't really see the Claypool to the Bears.
Nah, I mean that one's the Bears. I'm head scratching on the Bears. I mean, you got, to me, Roquan Smith is a huge.
Yeah, you're going to get rid of him, and then you're going to bring in a wide receiver. I mean, the Bears, I wasn't a fan of what they did. I wasn't a fan of the Bills and Colts, like we already talked about. I do like what the Dolphins did, both of them, even the Jeff Wilson. I think that was a sneaky good trade. And I like the Jags going out and getting a wide receiver, because they're not going to be in it this year anyway.
No.
So now they've got Ridley next year.
Christian Kirk is not a one.
Right.
I think they see that, and Calvin Ridley can come in and be the one, and Christian Kirk can complement Ridley.
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like about that deal is I wish my Giants would have done it.
Yeah.
Because they need some wide receivers.
Yeah, I mean, again, the Packers do nothing. And you had multiple wide receivers being mentioned,
right?
And they did nothing.
Yeah, because Cooks was out there.
Brandon Cooks, Jerry
Judy's name was being mentioned around.
I cannot believe Brandon Cooks did not get dealt.
I know.
I mean, you're talking about a guy that's being disrespected.
1,000-year receiver every year. It seems like he gets traded every year,
and it seems like nobody wants him, and he produces.
Yeah.
He's a good wideout.
Yep. Yeah, I feel sorry for the man.
I do too, because he's been a consistent producer. Well, that's so that's the trade. That's the trade.
Yep.
Again we got the Eagles still leading the way 7-0.
7-0, and that whole NFC East. Even Washington now with their win this weekend, they moved to 4-4. So and they're in the cellar at 4-4. Then you got both the Giants and the Cowboys at 5-2.
Right. Dak looked good.
Yep.
Dak looked good.
And then
coming back.
Got the Eagles up top. So that division, and so to me, the two East divisions are the best top to bottom divisions in football, because in the AFC East, you got the Patriots are in last at 4-4.
Right.
So
right. Who don't look bad. I mean,
I don't think they're a playoff team this year. But
I don't think so either. I think they're just on the outside.
But both of those divisions are, everybody's at least 500 or better. You can't say the same about the NFC South, who you got one team at 4-4, two teams at 3-5, and then one team at 2-6. Is that right?
Yeah, and the 2-6 team was actually fighting for the lead of the division.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, I said he went from hero to zero.
Oh,
DJ Moore
catches
a 62-yard touchdown pass to tie the game. The Falcons and the Panthers. If the Panthers kick this extra point and win the game, the entire division, every team is 3-5.
Yeah, and the Panthers are number one in the division
by tiebreak,
3-0.
Yeah, and so Moore is so excited about it was a great catch. I mean, it was a great catch.
I think it was a better throw.
Well,
that was a great.
Yeah, I mean,
throw,
it was right.
PJ Walker,
he dropped it in a bucket.
He did,
and
but it was a good catch because DJ don't score a lot of touchdowns.
No, but he pulled his helmet off, jumping in the crowd, just going to town, and
probably cost me in my fantasy too.
It's a 15-yard unsportsmanlike penalty
but he wasn't on the field.
But
he wasn't on the field.
He had just stepped into the white in the end zone. But the reason for the rule is to prevent all that showmanship, celebrating and pulling your helmet off. But
thought it was a weak call personally.
Anyway, it cost his team the game.
It shouldn't have affected the outcome of the game because kickers, you got one job.
Right. Well,
you got one job.
Well, it essentially became a 48-yard attempt.
That's in the
NFL.
Which in the
NFL, I mean, you should be money under 50.
You shouldn't be under stress for yardage at 48.
Well, and then he missed another one in overtime.
Yeah, he missed the field goal.
So the Falcons wind up winning. And you were mentioning PJ Walker and what a beautiful ball that was. Well, Baker's healthy. Baker's sitting on the bench.
I mean, you got to ride PJ. So the Panthers look different with PJ.
And with Wilkes at coach.
Yeah, and with Wilkes at coach, and
get rid of McCaffrey,
spreading the ball around, not relying so much on C-Mac.
Yep.
And Deontay Foreman, I told you weeks before he was traded, he's just sitting there.
Yeah.
Get him involved. He's a good running back.
He is. Every time he gets an opportunity, he delivers.
Yeah, he does.
But he just doesn't, for whatever reason, doesn't get many opportunities.
I mean, I guess maybe he's just not. Maybe he's not a practice player.
Yeah, I was going to say
Might not be a practice
maybe
player.
he doesn't look
He's
good
just
in
not
practice.
flashy. But yeah, no, PJ. The Panthers are different with PJ. It's like the Dolphins. The Dolphins are different with Tua. Right now, the Panthers are different with PJ. I don't know what it is because he's never been good. Mm-hmm. But right now, he's good. You got to ride the hot hand because you got Darnold coming back.
Yep.
That might come up later in the show,
It's going to be – you keep teasing. It's going to be interesting what they wind up doing at quarterback here. Of course, I don't think their franchise quarterback's on the roster right now.
No, I don't.
I think they're still going to be looking to get one in the draft next year.
Yeah, definitely.
But we'll see how the rest of the season plays out. The only other thing that I heard going on in the NFL was the Colts fired their offensive coordinator. You know,
oh yeah,
Frank Reich needed a scapegoat. And probably
somebody fired a DB coach too.
Yes, it was the Detroit Lions.
The Lions, yeah.
And they were there again. Aaron Glenn, he's
that
the
who
D.
it was?
No, he's the D coordinator.
Oh yeah,
but wasn't he a pretty good cornerback?
Yeah, oh yeah.
And you're gonna fire the cornerback coach?
I know, right? That's
a little ironic.
Yeah, for real.
But
he was also a Texas A&M, wasn't Aaron Glenn from Texas A&M? So it might be foreshadowing for Fisher.
Yeah, I don't.
Jimbo might be getting canned. I'm just kidding. That's way off the beaten path.
Yeah,
but
you totally got me on that one. I have no idea where.
I think he played at Texas A&M.
I'm gonna let you have that
All
one.
right, well, I'm taking that one. You research that one.
I'll Google that later, but
I'm pretty
hey,
sure
Siri.
he was an Aggie.
Yeah, it's that time of year though. You got the teams starting to separate themselves, and then you got teams looking to make a scapegoat move and hoping to light a spark. But that I listed 3 games to watch this weekend.
I got 2.
I got the Bills and the Jets at 1:00.
I got that one.
Of course, I think the Jets are not quite what everybody thought they were 2 weekends ago, and I think the Bills are probably going to handle them pretty easily this weekend.
Agree.
I got your Vikings against a suddenly resurgent Washington Commanders. Led by Mr. Heineke.
Yeah, that's another former Panther who, kind of in the P.J. Walker mode,
right?
And he's playing good ball right now too.
And that one's in Washington, so I think that helps make it. If that was in Minnesota, I probably wouldn't even listed it.
Kirk gets to go back to his old stomping grounds.
Kirk goes back home. That was and both those 2 games are at 1:00, and then there really wasn't a 4:00 game that appealed to me. And I think there's only like 2 or 3 at the most. But the Sunday night game, the Titans and the Chiefs.
Yeah,
both teams at 5-2.
Those are my 2 games: Bills, Jets, and Titans, Chiefs.
Yep. By far, those 2 are the best. I went looking for the best number 3 game I could find.
Yeah, it was a stretch. I mean, the Titans have surprised me.
They have.
They have surprised me, and they're playing.
They recovered from that ass whooping the Giants gave them to open the year.
Yeah, and they're playing with a backup. I don't know if.
Malik Willis.
Yeah, no, he didn't do nothing. I mean, it was a D.
Henry
show.
Still give the ball to D. Henry and
doesn't hurt my feelings.
And not
30+ carries, and ride the horse. Might as well.
Yeah, I just I don't want to see him turn into Earl Campbell.
Yeah, I know, but I think it's inevitable because it's kind of hard not to give him the ball 25+.
Well, he gets better
because he gets better. Yeah, they showed a stat in the game
from carry probably 17 on.
Yeah, his yards per carry gets better as the game wears because at some point as a DB, free safety, you're a little tired of. There's no Steve Atwaters left.
That might come up later in the show.
Yeah, that might come up later.
All right, well, let's. Did you have anything else you want to add about the NFL?
No, that's it for the NFL on my part.
All right, let's jump into college.
Let's do it. We're on
coming out tonight.
We are.
Is the college football playoffs.
That's it.
So, I thought about predicting what the playoff committee was going to do. But then I decided I know better than the committee does. So I was going to stick with my own rankings.
With your own?
Yep.
Well, we can verbalize at the end of this segment if you want to.
Yep. Because I think the committee's going to have Georgia at 1. And you might still have Georgia at 1. But to me, Tennessee has the best resume in football. And they made it even better with that ass whooping they gave Kentucky this past weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, it was in Tennessee.
I think Kentucky's like the Jets. We kind of thought they were all that, and they're really not. It's a basketball school.
But the thing that impressed me about this game was Tennessee's defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, they put up their 44 points on offense, but they held Kentucky with a future NFL quarterback to 6 points.
Yeah, it was convincing for sure.
So, yeah, I think the committee's going to have Georgia 1 and Tennessee 2, but I had them just the opposite. I've got Georgia 2. They struggled a little bit with Florida. It wasn't. I mean, you look at the final score; it was an ass whooping.
Right, but
that third quarter,
it was within a touchdown.
That third quarter, Florida put up 17 points and made it interesting. So, I still like the resume of Tennessee over Georgia. So I see you have it complete opposite of what I had.
Yeah, I'm doing more of an eye test. The eye test means more to me than a couple of victories, just because during the season it's real easy to get caught up in a win over a certain program, because by the end of the year that victory doesn't even look good anymore.
Right.
Kind of like looking at Clemson's resume.
Right.
A couple weeks ago we were talking about, well, hey, they got 3 victories inside the top 25. But now look at Wake Forest, look at NC State, look at Syracuse. I mean, we all knew Syracuse wasn't a top program.
But there again, Tennessee's win over Alabama, even by the slimmest of margins and at home, that one still to me is the best win that any of those top teams can claim. So that's the tiebreaker for me.
Yeah, I can't argue with you going with UT number 1. I mean,
and it's all going to be settled this weekend anyway.
Exactly.
So flip a coin, whoever you want to say's 1 this week and say who's 2 this week. It's not going to matter, because the winner of next weekend's game is going to be number 1.
Exactly, and they're going to be number 1 throughout the rest of the season. As long as they keep winning, that's definitely going to trump all. So I got UGA number 1. I got Tennessee 2. I got Michigan 3.
I got Michigan 3.
And I got Ohio 4.
I do too.
And I have TCU 5.
I actually left Clemson at 5.
Not me, man. In fact, I'm calling an upset this weekend. I think Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's going to get them.
I've got that as a game to watch, because
I don't know how.
It's at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
It's at night at Notre Dame, but it will not surprise me if Notre Dame pulls that.
That might be the how.
Yeah.
At home.
So yeah, I agree that and I think the ass whooping that Syracuse took this weekend kind of exposed them as a fraud.
Yeah, to me that was my determining factor, was the Syracuse lopsided loss, the TCU W's against quality opponents. And to me, I've watched Clemson play multiple times. I've watched TCU play multiple times. TCU is just a more balanced and potent team. Clemson's all defense. Their offense is not good.
Yeah, I mean
they have no receiver that's going to threaten an elite defense. I mean, you can pretty much lock them down with one guy. And Georgia's got the guy. Tennessee's got the guy. Michigan's got the guy. Ohio State's got the guy. TCU and Alabama all have the guy to lock down Clemson, man for man.
Yeah, no, I don't think Clemson can win a playoff game.
I don't either. But I got Bama at 7. I went ahead and ranked my top 10.
Okay. I got Oregon at 8.
I got Oregon at 8.
Yeah, and that's where I stopped, was at 8. But
I went Ole Miss 9.
Yeah.
I still believe Ole Miss is a top 10 team, and I went UCLA 10 over USC because I don't believe in USC, and I think UCLA has USC at home in a few weeks. and I think UCLA will put USC to bed at that point. So I went with UCLA at my number 10. I did watch UCLA play last week. You know how I feel about West Coast.
Are you feeling okay?
Well,
I know you've been under the weather.
You have no choice but to tune into the West Coast when they got 3 teams in the top 12, and Oregon's playing really good football. I still don't believe, if they put Oregon, let's just say hypothetically Oregon wins out and somebody else trips up and you put Oregon into the playoffs, they're going to get beat down.
It's going to be just like what Georgia did to them to open the year.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my top 5, top 10. You want to do a prediction on the show? We're
like I
right
said,
at the time.
I think it's going to be Georgia, Tennessee, Michigan, Ohio State, Clemson, TCU. I think my top 6, other than flipping Georgia and Tennessee, I think the committee will have Georgia at 1.
Yeah.
And you probably would flip TCU and Clemson, but I think the committee is going to have Clemson over TCU.
I think that's a tough one.
Of course, they love Alabama too. Alabama could get one of those last 2 spots.
Yeah, I think it's going to be UGA, UT, Michigan, and Ohio State in the playoffs, in the first ranking of the playoffs tonight.
You think it's going to be who?
I think it's going to be UGA, University of Tennessee, Michigan, and the Buckeyes.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah,
I agree with that. That those are the first 4. They're the 4 playoff teams, and then they usually do the 5 and the 6.
Yeah, I think it's.
And I think Clemson's going to be 5, and I think TCU or Alabama will be 6.
I think it's going to be flip flopped. I think TCU is with their resume is going to win, and I think Clemson's going to be 6.
Okay. Yeah. We shall see here shortly.
We will.
All right, I got 4 games to watch.
Yep.
I got TCU. They got Texas Tech. I know Texas Tech. They're feisty. They hang around with other teams. So I got that as a game to watch. I want to see, can TCU keep that momentum rolling, keep that undefeated streak going, and so I've got them as one of the games to watch. Then of course Tennessee at Georgia, which is number 2 versus number 1. Of course, you got Alabama and LSU.
Well, I'm curious to see how UGA handles Hendon and Hyatt.
Oh yeah.
I know UGA's got a decent back end, but I'm curious to see if they're going to let Kaylee Ringo lock him down and shut him down, or attempt to shut him down. That's going to be an interesting matchup.
Yeah.
I think that's the keys to me is how UGA handles the loss of Smith,
right,
and how they're going to handle Hyatt.
Well, Smith was probably going to be the man tasked with containing Hooker.
Yeah, spying him.
And if he's containing Hooker, then maybe you can have safety help over top. So this is going to completely change the entire game plan.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be interesting.
It definitely favors Tennessee that this went on.
Yep.
So yeah, that's the 3:30 game. It's pretty much for the Eastern, the East Division.
I don't see why you would tune into another game.
Yeah, and then at 7:00 you got Bama against LSU, and that's the winner of that will still be in control of the West, but there's still got work to be done because you still got basically there's 3 teams still in contention in the West to win. It would be LSU, Alabama, and Ole Miss.
Right.
Alabama's next 2 games are against LSU and Ole Miss. So if Bama wins both those games, Bama takes the West. I'm sorry.
We're statistically, man, we're just better than LSU on all levels, and
it's going to come down to not making the penalties,
not killing ourselves, and that's home away from home for us.
We usually don't have a problem.
We usually don't struggle at the real Death Valley. So we'll see. We'll see. Statistically, though, we're just better across the board.
Yeah, but LSU has started playing better the last few weeks.
Their quarterback's a wild card, and we tend to make quarterbacks look better than they are.
We bring out the best in whatever quarterback we're playing. So I think it's going to be about. I think the last I saw, Bama was about a 13-point favorite. I don't know that they're going to cover that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I could care less whether we cover.
Right.
I just want to
Just
get out of there with a
dub.
W.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah, and then the last game I had listed was one we already mentioned, Clemson and Notre Dame, because I think you got Clemson on upset alert there.
Yeah, I mean, you have to consider that an upset. I mean, I did look at the statistics. I looked at the matchups. Man, everything. There's not much Notre Dame does good offensively.
Right.
But what they do good plays right into Clemson's strength. So we'll see. I mean, I'm going to pick the upset in that one just because I just have been on Clemson's case the whole time. So
yep, I could easily get on board with that. All right. Any other games that you?
Nah, I mean, no, not really. Okay. Wake Forest, NC State, just local game, but
I think it's lost.
Luster.
Yeah, it's lost a lot of its luster with Wake not handling Louisville. So yeah, originally that could have still been, Wake could have still been in contention with a little luck and a little help, but that's not going to happen anymore. All right, well, let's move on to our final topic of the evening, and I like to call this Rapid Fire.
Rapid Fire.
We're going to do a Halloween
theme
edition of Rapid Fire. So I'm going to give you a couple, 2-3 scenarios, and I just want you to give me what your thoughts are. Don't sit there and contemplate it. Just give me your thoughts. So my Halloween edition is, which is the scarier / spookier sports scenario? So I'm going to start off with an easy one here for you. So it's the last play of the game. You either have to stop Derrick Henry coming at you in the open field, or you have to line up man on man with Tyreek Hill, and you got no safety help over the top, and you got to make the play to get your team the victory. Which one's scarier?
Is this like me?
Yeah, you.
I'm the DB.
Which one is scarier?
Well, let me tell you this. Scarier to me would be manning up one-on-one with Tyreek Hill.
Same.
Yeah.
I'll throw myself at D. Henry's ankles and try to get him to the ground.
Back in the day, I like to consider myself a pretty good hitter.
Right.
And pretty good one-on-one situations and not afraid to put my helmet on something. So, I mean, I'm not going to kid you. I'd probably shit my pants. I would probably poop my britches with Derrick Henry coming at me because more than likely he's going to stiff arm me into the dirt anyway, or throw me a good 5 or 10 yards.
Like Josh Norman a couple years ago.
Right. But I would take D. Henry because
that cheetah speed.
Whew. I mean, it doesn't matter what Dut shows up. He ain't covering Tyreek Hill. There's just no way.
Yeah. I'd have to tackle him at the line of scrimmage and just hold him to the ground.
I'd have to. I mean, I don't even know if I could catch him enough to pass interfere him and run him out of bounds because he's probably stronger than me anyway.
Yeah. Either way, both of those would be spooky if you were lined up in that situation.
Right.
All right, you want to give me one? You want me to go through some more of mine?
No, I'll give you one. We'll go back and forth.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna call mine trick or treat.
Okay, trick or treat. So am I supposed to say whether I think it's a trick or whether I think it's a treat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Trick is, obviously you don't really like it, and treat is good.
Okay. Okay.
All right, Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield as your franchise quarterback?
Now, I think they're both tricks. I wouldn't want either one of them.
You have to pick one. Which one's the trick and which one's the treat?
Yeah, between those two, I'm gonna say the trick is Darnold and the treat is Mayfield. But I'm thinking that Mayfield treat has got like a razor blade inside the candy bar.
Better have your mom and dad check it.
That's right. We got to run this thing through the X-ray machine first, cause I'd be out of a job if I had to depend on one of them guys to be my franchise quarterback.
Who would you be, Matt Rule?
Apparently.
That would be the Halloween
Matt
costume.
Rule or
you wear Matt Rule.
Yeah, or the guy at Cleveland. Everywhere Baker goes, he gets the head coach fired.
That's right.
So, yeah. No. Okay. Which one of these is the scarier proposition? Ronda Rousey armbar or punched by Mike Tyson?
Ooh.
Both of them gonna hurt.
Armbar, man, arm bars. I think I would take Ronda Rousey just so I could kind of
roll around on the mat with
her a little bit, because Mike Tyson. You gonna. Mike Tyson scares me. He's scary. I mean, I don't want to get my lights punched out.
You don't want to be a vegetable. You could deal with your arm hanging down to your ankles.
That's scary though, to think of your. That's why I don't even watch MMA, is because of arm bars.
Yeah.
I can't.
And she had a nasty one. I'm surprised she didn't. I think usually the women she was fighting, I mean, they would tap like in a second or two. No, I'm just saying this is the scenario I was giving you.
Oh yeah, no.
Because I'm kind of torn.
Really?
Because I don't. I mean,
Rousey in a minute, man. Something about being in the ring with Mike Tyson, man. That hook of his.
Oh yeah.
It was out of nowhere. It's like it was so fast, and when it landed, it was just so
one
vicious.
One and done.
Yeah. So now I would take Ronda Rousey. Yeah, that's a good one.
All right.
Trick or treat, man.
All right.
UGA, you're Alabama.
Okay.
UGA or Tennessee in the SEC championship? Who you want?
I want Tennessee, because I want revenge. I want a rematch. I feel like we didn't play our best game. I think it was a definite home field advantage for Tennessee. That place, I was there. It was loud, and I would like to avenge that loss. So that would be my treat, would be to get Tennessee. Really, my treat would be getting to the SEC championship.
Yeah, I mean, I know there was some assumptions being made,
Right,
and I didn't really come up with this
because I don't
make the assumption that we're cakewalking to it.
I don't. I actually think we match up better against Georgia. So really, the treat for Alabama would be to get Georgia, because I think that's the easier matchup for Alabama. But to me personally, my treat would be to avenge that loss. So
I got you.
I would go with Tennessee in that scenario. All right.
That one hit me good there.
Which one of these is the spookier proposition? They're coming down court at you.
Okay.
And you about to get your ankles broke. You about to get crossed over.
Uh-oh.
By Steph Curry or the professor?
Oh, man, I'm D'ing up Steph Curry all day long, man. I don't want no part of the professor. I don't want him to throw it through my legs.
I'd rather stumble a little. I'm with you. I'd rather stumble a little with Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Because he's done it to so many people anyway. But to be clowned and embarrassed and humiliated
right, and
by the professor.
And I'm taller than the professor, so that wouldn't be as embarrassing to...
Right.
Steph Curry, if he, good and well he's gonna knock down the shot.
Oh yeah. Like he's gonna step back and drain a 30.
Yeah, there's no way, but I'm definitely not wanting any part of the professor, because he'll just clown you to death and maybe break an ankle.
And for some of our listeners that might not know who the professor is, Google the Hand One mixtapes, or even actually he has his own.
Yeah, he's got
channel.
Just go to YouTube and
type in the professor, and you want to talk about some ball handling skills. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, and especially when he goes out to L.A. and plays
just
out
goes to a random park. And, yeah. So I thought that'd be a fun one. I tried to mix up the sports. So I gave you a football one, a fighting one, a basketball one. I got a baseball one coming up.
I did some different. Mine are a little bit different, so I got one for you.
Okay.
All right. This one really doesn't match well with Trick or Treat, but Trick or Treat, Coach Saban finishing out his contract or bringing in that coach in waiting prior to the end of his contract.
Ooh.
What do you prefer?
That is a good one. That's a tough one. I think, because his contract's going to take him to what, 79, 80?
79.
79, I think. I think he'll
8 more years, right?
Yeah, and he just turned 71 yesterday. So, I think I like that second scenario with him bringing in and being kind of a mentor on the side.
Yeah.
To help make that transition go smoother. So, because a lot of times coaches don't want to follow legends.
Sure.
They want to be the second coach. They want somebody else to come in, screw it up, and then they come in, and then they're another savior.
Right.
But if you can do it, and I don't know if I remember a scenario when it was done that way.
No, I mean, I come up with this because I kind of think we need to consider this for recruiting purposes,
right.
Because towards the end, it's going to be used against us on the recruiting trail.
Yeah, those last couple of years.
I'm going to piggyback on this with another question.
Okay.
Lane Kiffin or Dabo Sweeney?
I want Lane.
You want Lane over Dabo?
Lane. Yeah.
I agree.
I want Lane.
I want Lane too. We talked earlier. I told you that might come up later in the show, and this is why. I agree. I think Lane Kiffin's more innovative.
Yep.
I think he's dynamic on the recruiting trail.
Yeah.
Armed with an Alabama jersey.
And I think if it's going to be, I mentioned a second ago, the second coach is usually the one that can be successful, that follows the GOAT. Lane Kiffin could be successful directly following Saban.
Right.
Because he's got the swagger, he's got the personality, he's got the ego. I think Lane could follow Coach and us not drop. We might drop off a little bit.
And it's still an upgrade for Lane.
Yeah.
Even to come in as the coach in waiting prior to. Dabo's built his own legacy at Clemson. I mean, he is revered. He's loved.
Yeah.
And I know Dabo eventually would like to see himself at Alabama. And I would be happy if Dabo comes to Bama. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. But no, he would be my second choice.
I kind of see Dabo staying.
Yeah.
Clemson, because he's built such a legacy there.
Yeah. And I mean, he's got the easiest path to the college football playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
So
through not Clemson but the ACC.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
I know, but I was gonna say it.
All right, so we talked about today's the World Series. You being a former baseball guy, all right, you need a base hit.
I'm hitting off at anybody. I don't care who it is.
It's the bottom of the ninth, bases loaded. You need a base hit. Who you want to face? Randy Johnson, Nolan Ryan, or Roger Clemens?
Oof. I almost came up with this scenario for you. It was going to be a little twist. Randy Johnson or Greg Maddux.
I almost went that route too. The power fastball versus the tricky. But then I decided, I'm just going to bring three intimidating pitchers. Because, like I said, my category is kind of the spookier. So which one of those, not necessarily would you want to hit off of?
Who I want to hit off
the least spookiest?
The least spookiest, I'm going to get to. First, it's not Randy Johnson. I don't want any part of a 6'10" guy sticking his front foot into my mouth before he throws the ball.
Right.
I mean, you're talking
and just handing it to the catcher.
Yeah, literally less than a second.
Yeah.
To pick the pitch, pick the location, swing the bat.
Right.
It's down to Nolan Ryan and Clemens, and I'm gonna go.
To me, they're both similar in style. Kind of.
I'm gonna go with. To me, it would be spookier. Definitely be spookier with Randy Johnson because you don't know if it's going to be in your ear or not either.
Right.
Number two, spookier for me would be Roger Clemens because he moved the ball so well.
Yeah. He also wouldn't hesitate to throw it at your head.
Yeah, I would definitely hit off of Nolan Ryan because it was just straight hard cheese, man. And you knew you were either getting the straight hard fastball or that beautiful curveball.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would pick Nolan Ryan.
So you got Randy as the scariest, then Roger's spooky, and then Nolan would be your treat.
Nolan would be my treat. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And getting to hit off of Nolan.
I mean,
I saw a video of him last night throwing a first pitch at age 64.
Yeah.
He still could
still
throw
smoked
some gas, man.
Yeah. Right down the middle?
No, he actually threw a ball.
Oh, okay.
It was outside by a couple of inches, but man, it was still gas. And his windup was still beautiful.
Of course, he also Mr. No Hitter. So I mean, you got to get a hit in the World Series, and you're picking the guy with the most no hitters. All right, you got another one?
Yeah, I got one. I got probably my last one. Nick Chubb or Derrick Henry?
Who's the
better
running back?
Yeah. Who's the trick and who's the treat? Who you building your team around?
Well, this season, everybody's on the Chubb bandwagon. Of course, I'd take Saquon over both of them, but that's me personally, and you didn't give me that option, so I got to go between the King and Chubb. Well, I guess I'll just be a homer on this one. I'm gonna treat with the King and trick with Chubb because I've seen both of them play. I've seen Derrick Henry carry us to a national championship.
Yeah.
Get a Heisman Trophy. He's the most feared running back in the NFL. The Titans are a one-dimensional team, and people still can't stop them.
You can slow him down.
Yeah, Chubb's a little bit shiftier. He's not that straight ahead. But give me the King. Give me the King. All right, one last one for you. I gotta do hockey. So which is scarier? Getting body checked by Zdeno Chara, or you're in goal facing his 108.8 mile an hour slap shot?
Definitely being in goal facing that
slap shot would be spookier.
No matter how you slice it, catching that puck, blocking that puck, it hurts.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, I only played at the rec level
right.
with a lighter puck.
Yeah.
And I played in goal a few times just to try it.
Yep.
And we played some guys that were, collegiate players, so they were good. Mm-hmm. But man, I can't imagine catching with that limited padding,
a solid piece of frozen rubber.
If you miss the netting of your glove, I can't imagine, catching it on the face.
Yeah.
Even though you have a helmet, I mean, that's still almost a concussion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
That's brutal.
Check me into the boards or knock me off my skates, but I am not standing in front of basically 109 mile per hour slap shot.
Yeah, that's crazy.
No, thank you.
That puck is so heavy, man.
You got any more? That was my last one.
No, I mean, what do you think? Snickers, Butterfinger, or M&M's? Let's rank those in order.
Rank them. I'm gonna go M&M's first. Then I'm gonna go.
Do you like them all?
I like them all. I'm probably gonna go Snickers second, and then Butterfinger third, only because Butterfingers get stuck in my teeth.
And I'm the opposite. I go Butterfinger, M&M's, and Snickers last. I don't like the Snickers. I think that's the most overrated Halloween candy.
I've actually just come around to Snickers. I like a Milky Way better than a Snicker.
Do you?
Yeah, but I love a Butterfinger.
Most overrated candy, Halloween candy.
Most overrated Halloween candy. Them little black and orange wrapped
peanut butter ones.
No, I'll tell you the one.
That's old school though.
Yeah. Now the one I don't like is either a Mounds or an Almond Joy.
Yeah,
I used to trade all those to my sister.
Yeah, I traded those too.
Now give me some Milk Duds,
some Sugar Babies.
Sugar Babies. Of course, I can't eat any of that now.
No, those are dangerous for
now Milk Duds. And Milk Duds, they're softer, but them.
I don't like any peppermint patty or nothing. But you know what I think today's most overrated Halloween thing is them damn bags of pretzels.
Oh yeah.
Nobody wants a bag of pretzels. Don't buy these kids a bag of pretzels.
That's for airplane. That's a snack on an airplane.
I mean, my grandchild got tons of bags of pretzels. I'm like,
well, there's a lot of people now. I know me and you love them, but a lot of people can't stand candy corn.
Oh man, I love candy.
But I mean, like I said, I knew that me and you
eat a whole
would
bowl
just sit there with a handful.
We should have had a bowl right here.
Yeah, well, we could have, but it's empty.
Yeah, you already killed it.
Sweet. So, all right, well, let's. We got a couple of bourbons to try over there, off the wall, off the beaten path bourbons that we're gonna throw it out there and see what it tastes like. So let's head over to the bar, taste that, and then we'll rate that shit. See you at the bar.
4, 3, 2, are you ready?
Welcome to Kolby's Bar, and it's time for Rate That Shit.
Yeah, we've got 2 brand new bourbons tonight. We've never tried either one of them. We've got a local not really local, but a North Carolina bourbon. And then we got one from Savannah, Georgia. So we're going to try these tonight, see who's got bragging rights, North Carolina versus Georgia. And we'll rate that shit.
We'll rate it. Now,
You want to tell them how we like to rate our shit?
yeah. So for us, we like to taste our bourbon and rate it on a scale of 1 to 4. 1 is the lowest level for us. We like to brown bag that. We don't brown bag a lot because we like bourbon in general.
That's right. We usually don't. We buy the shit that needs to be brown bagged.
Yeah, exactly. Number 2 for us, it's probably a decent stock bourbon, something that you might want to keep on your shelf at all times. But you like to put a mixer in it, whether you like to splash some Coke or ginger ale or whatever you like to mix. Number 3, the bourbon's getting a little bit better. It might be higher in proof. You might want to drop a rock in there. We call that on the rocks. Mm-hmm. And last but not least, the tried and true and how we prefer at BB&B to drink our bourbon, neat.
Yep.
And that's how we rate.
Typically, we don't mess around with many 1s or 2s. I mean, we'll rate them for the show, but then they're going to sit and collect dust on the shelves. We really like the 3s and 4s because we like to really like to drink it neat, but we have been known to throw a rock in there a time or two. But
Exactly.
All right, well, let's just talk about what we've got here tonight. So this first one is a Frying Pan Shoals bourbon, and it's from the Cape Fear Distillery in Elizabethton, North Carolina. It's going to run you about $40. It's 94 proof. It's a corn, barley, and rye mash, and it's aged for 2 years. So it's it's an entry.
You're not really selling it hard, are you?
Yeah.
Aged for 2 years.
Yeah, and I really couldn't find what the tasting notes are supposed to be or what the aroma's supposed to be.
A little heavy in the rye, so you can only imagine.
Yeah, and it told me what the mash bill was, but it didn't tell me the percentages. So I'm not sure exactly.
Got some leg to it, though, for a 2-year-old bourbon. I'm not expecting a lot from just on the color. Definitely getting some rye on the nose.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely strong rye on the nose. Yeah, definitely rye up front. Got a little hug to it.
Not impressed.
Not impressed on your first taste?
I'm not impressed. There's just nothing. There's not a lot to it.
No, it's not a lot of coating of my tongue or my mouth.
No, it doesn't hit you with this flavor and then follow up with another flavor. I'm at a loss really to describe it.
No complexity to it, is what you're saying?
Yeah, it's just got that one flat taste, and like I said, I can't even. You know what it almost tastes like to me is like a honey cough drop.
I need some of them right now. I'm out. Well, no, I actually have one left, but
I don't hate it, so I'm not going to give it a 1. I'm not going to brown bag it, although I had the bag ready just in case. But I can't go above a 2. There's just not enough there.
Yeah, it was,
the color.
The color was
the color is a honey color. It's not that
color.
Pretty amber. It's a 2 for me.
Just a 2. You're not that impressed. Well, I tend to like ryes a little bit more than you do. This one you could actually taste the mash. The mash I could taste real heavy. You remember on our bourbon tours when they allowed us to taste the mash?
Right. Yeah.
That was the predominant flavor to me. Was like almost just the mash because we're only talking about a 2-year aged bourbon and the color certainly shows us
Yeah,
that.
definitely shows you that it hadn't spent a lot of time in the barrel.
This one would be interesting to me, so I'm going to agree with you on this one. I'm gonna go with a 2. I'm definitely not going to go with a 1 because I actually did enjoy the flavor.
Right.
This one, I could almost see you putting this one in one of your own barrels and aging this one a little bit longer.
That's a good idea.
I think personally, I think this would be a really good bourbon if you aged it a little bit longer in your own barrel.
I'm down with that.
Yeah.
That is a good idea. That is a good idea.
So a consensus 2.
A consensus 2. Yep.
And you said it was 40.
Yes, $40.
So frying pan Shoals bourbon,
Mm-hmm.
$40. I mean,
it's an interesting bottle. It's got the fishing hook on there.
yeah, got a fishing hook, got a little rope, fishing line, got a nice cork.
Right.
To it. The bottle
I mean,
looks kind of like
looks,
a Cooper's.
Yeah, it looks good sitting on the shelf, but just not a lot of complexity to it. Not a lot of different flavors to it.
Now, if you're
like I said, I didn't hate
$40 at the ABC store, there's a tremendous amount.
Yeah,
of
I'm probably gonna get a bottle of Woodford before I get that, just because
it
gives you a little bit more taste to it. But like I said, I don't hate it, and I think you're onto something with aging it in a barrel, or
I think we should
making a Manhattan or an old fashioned out of
age
it.
this one in a barrel and then make some old fashions out of that one.
Yeah.
That actually was it's got a good start. I mean, I just want to call it like a starter bourbon, because 2 years.
It's a baby.
It's a baby bourbon.
All right, well, I'm looking forward to this one, and
this one came highly recommended.
you actually it's a Savannah bourbon, and you actually got it in Savannah, right?
Got it in Savannah on a recommendation from the shop owner.
Right. Now that's a pricey one there.
It was pricey. $80 with tax, but
$77.
$77
before tax. Now it's called Fiddler Georgia Heartwood, and I found it interesting when I was reading on their website. The owner of this distillery, and the distillery is Fiddler, said that the reason he came up with that name was because he liked to fiddle around with this and fiddle around with that. So that's where Fiddler came from, because he likes to, like this one here, he's got charred oak staves that are hand charred that he adds to the barrel the last few months of the aging process. Now, they didn't tell me how long it was aged, but given that color, I'd say it's at least 4 years.
It's a pretty color. It's a standard looking bottle, kind of like a wine bottle. I mean, nothing fancy to it, but nice looking label.
And this is cask strength.
Yeah.
So this one is 116.4 proof.
Whoa! All
yeah.
right.
Now it's now they did list the mash on this one, and it's 51% corn, 45% wheat, and 4% malted barley. And it's supposed to give you a salted caramel, maple, orange, and a sandalwood, which to me, I guess that'd be more like the oak.
What the hell is sandalwood?
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure, but that was the word they used.
Sandalwood would even taste like.
Well, that was the word they used, so I wanted to include nice legs, nice thick legs.
Well, I like thick legs. You like thick legs? I like thick legs. That is a good looking bourbon. The mash bill sounds really, really good. This is a highly decorated craft bourbon too.
Right. Good color. Ooh, that does have a maple smell to it.
It's good smell. Really sweet.
Yeah.
I can smell the oaky.
Yeah, I got a little.
I can smell the sandalwood in this. I can smell the.
He's
oak.
full of shit.
I can smell.
Oh, he is full of shit, but I do got to give him props because between the time we left the poker table and came to the bar, we looked up where Aaron Glenn went to college, and in fact, Texas A&M.
So I was right. Thank you for that.
But actually, I'm getting the caramel and the maple and the oak with the aroma anyway. I haven't tasted it yet. You just jumped right in there.
Man, it smells so good. Ooh.
So that's what sandalwood tastes like. What's that mean? Another, or are you disappointed?
That is a high class bourbon.
It's a high quality H2O. You giving that one a neat?
That has got so much flavor.
There is a lot of different.
Got a beautiful hug. That is by far one of the better bourbons I've had in a while. I mean, it's the complexity of that flavor profile.
It is definitely a complex.
There is so much flavor
A
popping.
lot of things going on in there. The only thing that might knock it down from a 4 for me is the sandalwood.
The sandalwood. I'm just not a fan of sandalwood, to be honest with you.
No, but it does have a little bit of an oaky taste, which I'm sure, being finished with charred oak staves, you're going to get that. And I don't like a strong oak flavor.
Up front, man, it was just so
Up front,
sweet.
yes, it was.
It was mapley and sweet. I had some fruitiness to it. But you're right, on the back end.
Yeah, that it finishes with that.
It finishes with that higher proof.
Right.
With them staves, with the oakiness, the charring. But
Right.
I am really impressed by the complexity.
Yeah,
of
it
that
is
bourbon.
definitely a high quality bourbon. It's definitely worth the money. I mean, I see why they charge what they do for it, because it is definitely a complex bourbon. My personal taste would be not quite a 4. I will concede to you. And
I'm giving it a 4,
Yeah,
and
well,
I'm not going to second guess.
we'll list it as a 4.
I'm going to, I spilled some. I'm going to lick your bar. I'm going to give that a 4. And I am going to lick that bar. I'm not going to alcohol abuse. I mean, if you ever find yourself in Savannah and you want something different, something that not everybody's going to have on their bourbon bar or their selections, I recommend the Fiddler.
I stand corrected. It's finished and bottled by ASW Distillery
Yeah, that's what
in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, and that Fiddler, Georgia Heartwood, that's good stuff, man.
It is good.
It is good stuff.
Yeah, I see. What confused me was they were also pushing that Savannah bourbon, and I thought that's what you had got, but I think Brian bought a bottle of Savannah.
Yeah, we bought a lot of bourbon that
But
weekend.
yeah, this is. I apologize. This is ASW Distillery in Atlanta, Georgia.
It's good.
But that doesn't change the flavor. So it's still good wherever it was bottled.
That's good stuff.
Weeded and repeated.
Weeded and repeated. That is good stuff. I
That
like
is
that.
good. That is good.
That's going home with me, just so you
Well,
know.
since it's going home with you,
Hit you another one.
let me get another.
Hit you a big one. Don't be bashful. Okay, that's a little bashful.
You want to toast with this, or you gonna toast with your
Now I'm gonna
Old
toast
Forester.
with this Old Forester
Okay.
just because.
because that's going home with you.
Yeah, that one's going on with me. That's going on my shelf. I recommend, and everybody's going to be in Savannah at some point.
Right.
I mean, you got to go to Savannah.
Well, and you might be able to find it in other places.
Yeah, you could. You could.
That was the only place we saw it, and it was actually the single barrel pick for Dizzy Dean's.
Dizzy Dean's. That's where we were. Were we in that store, Dizzy Dean's?
Yep.
I'm
But
assuming
actually, Dizzy Dean's was in.
That was in Tybee
That was
Island.
in Tybee. That was the one across the street.
Yeah. So if
from-
you find yourself in Tybee Island,
Yeah, this particular.
there's a
bottle.
liquor store there called Dizzy Dean's.
Yeah, nice selection.
Beautiful selection.
Yeah,
They
you wouldn't.
had all
Yeah,
the
you
smoke
would.
wagons.
Yeah,
They
you
had-
wouldn't think from the outside looking in, you would have been like,
That's where I got the C-Dub, the Charles Woodson bourbon, which incidentally
Yeah.
wasn't good, but
the
still,
C-Dub.
I don't know about brown bag just because it's Charles Woodson. You
Brown
can't
bag.
brown bag Charles Woodson, but
Brown bag bourbon.
if you go to Tybee Island, pick you up the Fiddler, Georgia Heartwood, beautiful, I think.
All right, well, that wraps up episode 15. Another fun time, another good episode.
Good convo, man.
A lot of discussion. I tell you, We keep trying to shorten these podcasts, but there's just so much to talk about that it's hard.
I mean, they're long. You be in your car, you on a road trip, just put us in, listen to
Start
us.
it on Wednesday, finish it on Thursday or Friday.
It's not that long, but
or like he says, fast forward to the end.
Yeah, check out just the bourbon part if that's what you like. I mean, you can always fast forward to the college football section if you don't want to hear about baseball or NFL. You can check us out on all our we have all the socials: Instagram, YouTube,
TikTok, Apple, Spotify.
Got email bourbonbuzzandballinpr@gmail.com.
Yep.
Send us some email, send us some feedback, give us some bourbon selections. We're all open ears for that. You know, we're down for trying whatever bourbons you might want us to try and rate it.
That's right.
Let us spend we'll spend the money.
I thought you weren't into alcohol abuse. Now you're throwing shit everywhere.
Well, I've had a little bit of bourbon. I told you at the beginning of this podcast we get a little tipsy.
That's right.
Hopefully we're not loose-lipped. Hopefully you Auburn fans don't get.
Tonight's episode is Bourbon Dut is buzzed and ballin'.
Hopefully the Auburn fans don't get too upset with my take early. Tune in for that one if you're an Auburn fan, because I really don't care.
It's all,
you deserve it.
It's all in fun.
It is all in fun.
We love every fan base.
He's full of shit. We don't. Behind closed doors.
No, but I do believe that everybody should pull for who they want to pull for.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But that don't make you right.
Well, I mean,
That makes you in the crosshairs for some.
I better wrap this episode up before he says something I can't apologize for. So we haven't even talked about what we're going to talk about next week. So we'll just make it up as it goes along, and
tune in next week. I promise you, it's going to be worth listening to.
Well, we're gonna toast a couple people. We're gonna tell somebody they're a piece of shit scumbag.
Somebody's a scumbag, and we don't know who that is now, but I promise you,
they're gonna show their face.
They'll show
sometime between now and next week. They will pop up.
We got some hot topics that we'll talk about, whether it's baseball,
maybe
a Philly sweep.
We'll know the results of the World Series. Maybe not, but we'll know where the World Series is at. We'll know what the college football poll is. So yeah, we got plenty to talk about.
We got plenty to talk about,
and we always can talk.
we can do some talking.
So we'll see you next week. Cheers.
Cheers.